Okay, what's up, y'all? So we're going to solve some quadratics by factoring and using the quadratic formula today. So let's start with our first example. Just remember this little fun method we have. First, we're going to draw this x when factoring. And for this top number here, we're going to multiply our a and our c. Now, if there's nothing in front of the variable here, the n, or oftentimes it's going to be an x, we just say that's a 1. So 1 times 18 is going to be 18. And then down here, you're going to have to put this number b, this number in the middle. So that's going to be 9. And now the numbers that go here are going to be numbers that add to 9 and multiply it to 18, right? So let's think of the factors of 18. We have 1 and 18. Nope. 2 and 9. Nope, that's not going to be it. 6 and 3. Perfect. Whenever we add 6 and 3, we know we're going to get 9. Whenever we multiply them, we're going to get 18. So now we can write this equals n plus 3 times n plus 6. And now if we have any common factors in anything that we can divide out of both sides, we can do that. But we see that we're good to go here. So now all we have to do is solve. So now remember, if one of these is 0, then the whole thing's going to equal 0, because 0 times anything is 0, right? So we have to figure out how to make each of these 0. So first, if n plus 3 equals 0, subtract 3 from both sides, n equals negative 3. And over here, n plus 6 equals 0, and subtract 6 from both sides, so n equals negative 6. And here are going to be our two answers. Sweet. Now I'm going to grab a second color, do the second one. So now we have 2r squared minus 5r minus 34 equals 8. Now we see this 8 here, and the really important thing that we have to remember is that this has to equal 0, because we're trying to find the roots. We're trying to find those zeros. So let's go ahead and subtract 8 to both sides first. So now we get 2r squared minus 5r minus 42 equals 0. And that's something we like, so we're going to pull a smiley face in it. So let's first multiply these two numbers. So 2 times 42, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, so it's going to be 84, and remember that negative here, I'm going to circle it instead of underline it. It's negative, so it's going to be negative 84, make our x, and then we have to add to negative 5. Okay, so it's going to be two numbers that multiply to 84 and add, or negative 84 and add to negative 5. We can go through the factors again, but I'm just going to let you know, just because 84 is bigger, it's going to be negative 12 and 7. So negative 12 plus 7 is negative 5, and negative 12 times 7 is negative 84. So now we're going to rewrite these as two binomials. So it's going to be 2r. We're going to put whatever is this first term here in front of both of them, minus 12 times 2r plus 7. Now we're going to see if there's anything we can divide both of these by. 2 and 7, we can't divide those by anything, but 2 and 12 we definitely can. So let's divide both of these by 2. So then we get r minus 6 and 2r plus 7. Now like we just did, we're going to solve to see how they equal 0. So we have r minus 6 equals 0 and 2r plus 7 equals 0. Let's go ahead and solve this left one first. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. And so we get r equals 6. On this one, we're going to subtract 7 from both sides. So then we get 2r equals negative 7. Divide both sides by 2. R equals negative 7 halves. And these are going to be our two answers, our two roots, our two, whatever. X-intercepts, lots of names for those. Okay, so now we're going to use the quadratic formula. Just as a quick refresher, quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you haven't seen that video yet, you absolutely will, because it's the best video on the planet. X equals. So what we're going to do is we're just going to plug these numbers in. So remember, when we have an equation written in standard form, we have a n squared plus b n plus c. So then our a is going to be this 4, b is going to be 7, and c is going to equal negative 12. So I'm just going to rewrite those things just so it's clear. So a equals 4, b equals 7, and c equals negative 12. Remember that negative? And also remember, just to make sure, that it's equaling 0, and that a is going to be the thing in front of n squared, right? Even if it's in a different order, even if we wrote 7n plus 4n squared minus 12, a is still going to be the thing, the coefficient in front of n squared. b is still going to be the thing in front of n, and c is going to be the thing without anybody. So now all we're going to do is we're just going to plug these numbers into our formula here. We're going to use parentheses just because that makes everything easier when simplifying, right? So x equals negative b is 7 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So that's 7 squared minus 4 times a, which is 4, times c, which is negative 12. Sweet. And then we're going to go all over 2 times 4. Okay? So then all we have to do here to solve these is we just have to simplify this. Sometimes we're going to be able to simplify it more than others, but we're just going to do as much as we can right now. So let's go ahead and distribute some of these signs and stuff. So it's going to be negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared is 49 minus 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 12. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me do some math. 16 times 12, 6 times 2 is 18, 1 times 17, 3, 0, and 6. I can't believe I'm doing this. 8, 9, 1. 198. Is that right? 192. 6 times 2 is 12, not 18. Classic. Classic. Guys, these mistakes are so easy to make, so just use your calculators. So because we have a negative here and we have a negative here, it's going to be plus 192. And that's going to be all over 2 times 4, okay, which is 8. We're going to simplify this one more time. So negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus 192. Let's do some more addition on the side here, because I don't have a calculator with me, which is all good. 11, 241. Thank you. 241 all over 8. And that is going to be our answer. There's nothing really that we can simplify here. And so this is just how we're going to leave it. So x equals. And remember, this is going to give us 2 answers. So if we wrote this out, we would get negative 7 plus the square root of 241 over 8, and negative 7 minus the square root of 241 over 8. So oftentimes your quizzes or homeworks or exams or something are going to ask you for 2 answers, and that's what you're going to get. Amazing. Okay, last one over here. We now have 5n squared plus 1 equals 6. So first what we're going to do is not use this column. So I'm going to scratch it out. And we're going to use instead x squared minus 5x minus 4 equals 3. Sweet. Let's work with it. So first we need to make sure that there's a 0 on the end here. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So x squared minus 5x minus 7 equals 0. So remember, a is going to be the thing in front of x squared, b is going to be the thing in front of x, and c is going to be the thing without anything else. So a is going to equal 1, b is going to equal negative 5, and c is going to equal negative 7. So we're going to plug this into our formula one more time. I'm not going to rewrite it. But x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 7 all over 2 times 1. Sweet. We're going to keep going, just simplify it a little bit more. So then x equals negative 5, so that's plus positive, so 5. Plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared, which is going to be 25. Remember, if the negative is inside the parentheses when we square it, it's a negative times a negative, which is a positive. Minus 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. And so we have 2 negatives here, so it's going to be plus a positive 28 all over 2 times 1. Sweet. We're going to keep going. So equals 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus 28. 8 plus 5 is 13. 53. All over 2. And again, there's nothing that we can take out of all of this. There's nothing else we can do to simplify. So this is going to be our answer. But if we want to rewrite it as 2, it's going to be x equals 5 plus the square root of 53 over 2 and 5 minus the square root of 53 all over 2. And that's it. Sweet.